we are gonna see why a whole lot of red made people so mad.
We all know that Whole Lotta Red is now considered one of the most influential albums this decade.
You know what's
But
crazy?
when the project first released, it was hated by fans and critics alike.
Bruh.
It made people so mad that a whole lot of skips started trending on Twitter. Some even said that it
2020.
embraced Satanism, and others simply lost all respect for Playboy
Bro,
Carti.
it's not like a goddamn
So
vampire.
what caused this reaction, and how did this album that was so hated eventually turn into a cult classic?
How?
The fact is that Whole Lotta Red sounded unlike
Wow.
anything that rap music had produced before. Sure, you had Yeezus, which was unconventional, Death Grips, who have long dominated the underground, and a few others who have delved into that sound of punk rap. But Whole Lotta Red was something else entirely. And the same qualities that made it so distinct from other albums are also
so
what made it
different,
so
yeah.
controversial. Just compare it to other hip hop albums that were released in 2020. You had My Turn by Lil Baby, Eternal Take by Lil Uzi, Savage Mode 2 by 21 and Metro. Are we really surprised that people weren't
Oh,
ready
fuck no.
for Whole
Wait.
Lotta Red? The term before its time is a lot, but it definitely applies for this album. But that isn't the only reason that people were so mad at Playboy Carti. In fact, it goes a lot deeper. Whilst it may seem like nothing
Like
now,
in
considering the
2017?
5-year wait for his next album, Playboy Carti
music,
had made
5
people wait
years.
a long time for his debut album, especially as he first teased it soon after the release of Die Lit. Through the release and success of his previous 2 projects, Playboy Carti had managed to become one of the most talked about artists on the planet.
Yo, the first time I listened to Cardi was like in 2017 summer. When it came out to like summer camp, bruh. But he went from Playboy to whole King of Rap back in 2020. Now
People
he
were
changed.
itching for new Carti music. The Magnolia rapper had captivated an entire generation through his catchy and dreamy style of hip-hop, a style that focused on the feeling and vibe of a song instead of the lyrics. And it's this style that fans had expected from his debut album, especially considering several
They got
songs
the
from the
colour
first
version.
version of the project had leaked, like Molly and Cancun, amongst many others. These songs went triple platinum in people's local files. Carti's leaks were bigger than most rappers' released music. No joke.
Damn.
Pissy Pamper topped Spotify's Viral 50 chart despite the song never officially dropping. But
that
you
song-
know all of this is not a shock to you.
It was
What is
fire.
a shock, however, is Carti's decision to put none of these songs on Whole Lotta Red. It was a bold move which angered many fans, especially considering
He needs to
Carti
do a
had
deluxe
decided to go in a
version.
different direction entirely. And this is where everything started to fall apart. After the long 2-year wait, Whole Lotta Red dropped on Christmas Day in 2020, and when fans clicked play, they were met with,
Damn. Yo,
this album was loud and abrasive, far removed from
Never
the
too
cloud
much.
rap that fans had come
Never
to
too much.
expect from Playboy Carti. This new sound made up most of the hour runtime, with the artist
King
experimenting with his voice like never before. Sure, fans had some respite
Sky.
with tracks like Sky and New Neon, but Carti had scrapped Cash Carti and became
Damn.
Vamp Carti, which involved him
Vamp
almost
Carti,
screeching
bro.
his lyrics on several tracks.
Oh,
But the
hell
new
no.
sound wasn't the only complaint that fans had. Whilst most of the album's tracklist is now loved, that was far from the case of release. The internet destroyed Carti and Whole Lotta Red, claiming that the album was bloated, unfinished, lazy, and just not worth the wait.
so the album is still fire. I use one of those songs as my ringtone. So if you,
The term Whole Lotta Skip started trending, along with the word trash,
Whole Lotta
all
Skip
of which was aimed at the
is
divisive
trending.
project. When showcasing the album, Carti even had to end his Instagram live due to the chat hating on his new tracks.
oh, that's
Now,
crazy,
the
bro.
music side of it was one thing. You also had people upset with the imagery of the album
Oh,
and the
hell
unholy
no.
persona that Carti was promoting. The merch for Whole Lotta Red had several designs which involved upside down crosses,
Bruh,
the
hell
devil,
no.
and pentagrams. A stark change from the butterflies and dollar bills. This whole satanic aesthetic was one thing, but to drop the album on Christmas Day, a holiday celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, was another thing entirely. Playboi Carti had managed to anger his own fans of rap music, and an entire religion, all with the release of Whole Lotta Red, which is what a lot of people were seeing. So what was Carti going for? And how did he get people to love this album? The thing, Playboi Carti knew exactly what he was doing. Since the start of his career, it's clear that the artist had no intention of being the status quo. He had his own sound, his own identity, something that he took to the extreme with Whole Lotta Red. This album has often been compared to the release of Yeezus, and it's no surprise that Ye was chosen as the executive producer of this new direction, as he is another artist that has never settled for one sound, even if it made people mad. This was an artist that followed up gradually.
Like, I remember he dropped this in 2020. Yeah, 2020, December.
There was no better mentor for Carti in terms of transforming his sound, and also in terms of not caring what other people think. Whole Lotta Red is an album influenced by not only the punk sound, but the mindset as well. A mindset that would make a lot of people angry. Whilst everybody loved his viral leaks, he didn't want the album to be a repeat of Die Lit or his self-titled project, which is something that Carti stands by, saying he wants each album to feel different, that there's no lid on his music. He very easily could have caved from the pressure by quickly releasing a deluxe with all the tracks that people wanted and still want. But even after seeing all of the hate, Carti still believed in his album, stating that once he started performing after the lockdown, the crowds would know every lyric, that those who didn't understand right now would certainly understand later. These were bold claims for such a controversial and polarizing album, but he couldn't have been more correct. So what was the turning point for the album?
Bro, basically just everybody really listened to the song again. 2021 was a crazy year, I'm not
Whole Lotta Red is nowadays hailed as one of the greatest and most influential albums of this decade, and it all comes down to one key thing: live performances. Just as Playboi Carti had predicted in his interview, once fans got to experience the album live in person, instead of just sitting at home, it would hit in a completely different manner. Don't get me wrong, Whole Lotta Red would still be making people mad, just not like it did before. What do I mean by that? Well, after Carti got to showcase his album live at festivals like Lollapalooza and Rolling Loud in 2021, his fanbase was never the same again. Compare this live performance in 2017 to any show after the release of Whole Lotta Red, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Carti began to be known for his high energy performances, to which the crowd reciprocated by starting mosh pits on huge scales. These performances became so legendary that it birthed a whole new generation of rap music. Like I mentioned previously, this album eventually became one of the most influential of this decade. But there have already been several videos explaining just how much Whole Lotta Red has changed the genre, so I won't spend too long here. But the fact is that Carti, with his album alongside his live performances, managed to create a subgenre of rap which was labelled rage music, a subgenre that would take over the hip hop world over the next couple of years. This direction he took even allowed him to start his own record label, made up of artists who have been heavily inspired by Playboi Carti and, in particular, Whole Lotta Red. As, in the end, this album didn't just influence the genre, it managed to completely change it, alongside Carti's career.
That was it, but yeah, I'm about to previews.